Welcome to another Top 5 with Kris 05, guys. Today I'm gonna give you the 5 best decks in the game after the new cards got added on Tuesday. We're gonna see 5 of the best decks, talk about their mulligans, their win rates, and their general tips, but we're also gonna check out all of the other working archetypes for each individual class, and we're gonna see exactly how well the new cards are actually doing. So if you're serious about Hearthstone and enjoy what I'm doing, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget you can also hire me for some Hearthstone coaching, and you can be sure I'll help you hit Easy Legend. Now, let's get into it.
Prepared!
Before we get into the best decks, I'd like to talk about a game that is very close to my heart, Arcane Rush. You have already seen me play this game before, and I've even done a dedicated video about it on my Hearthstone channel, and there's actually huge news about it right now. Now you can play Arcane Rush straight on your PC, and you can download it for free from my download link in the description, or the pinned comment, or the QR code. And you can also play it on your phone, on your Android or iOS device. This game has great graphics, lovable characters, nice music, and action-packed gameplay. It's an auto-battler where you pick units to make out the best teams you can, and you fight other people with their teams. But the cool thing about this game is you're actually not fighting other people in real time, so you can play as fast as you like or as slow as you want. No annoying ropes for you to wait on, or for them to be rushing your plays. You can play the game when you have 5 minutes here and there, and you can stop even mid-game just to continue when you have more time for gaming. Or you can spend countless hours blasting through the ranks and leveling up your units, your artifacts, your dealers, and unlocking plenty of more new champions. The newest race added to the game are the Nords, who are big, strong Vikings and beasts, are utilizing the new Frostbite keyword, and they also scale up through the survive and level up mechanics, and go berserk, striking down their foes. A brand new season launches every 2 months, and this March, Season 4 is kicking off with a brand new dealer, a new race, fresh heroes, and tons of new cards. If you're curious and want to try it yourself, download Arcane Rush for free using my download link in the comments or in the description, or the QR code on screen. Hope you enjoy. The first deck on the list is actually going to be Secret Hunter, which is kind of weird, because right now we do have plenty of very good hunters out there. But yeah, I'm not very surprised, because once new cards get included, once a meta shakes up, Secret Hunter comes back to reap in the spoils, because it's just a very effective deck. It's a very easy deck to be climbing easy with, because people don't really do well on these ranks against the secrets. It's also pretty fast, effective, and gets the job done. While people are trying new things, this deck is just reaping in the fruits, and this meta is no different. This is not exactly a very new archetype, not exactly a very new iteration. We have no new cards in this, neither of the top decks have any of the new cards, by the way, don't get baited by them. And yeah, it has Costume Singer so you can draw your secrets quick. We have Vicious Slither Spear so you can steal games nice and good. The bananas help you very well with the Vicious. It also discounts your Mantle Shapers nice and good. You have all sorts of different secrets in here, and you could get somewhat creative with this if you're facing too much board-centric decks. Another Explosive might do well, another Bait and Switch might do well. If you're not facing that many board-centric but more combo-oriented, you can go for more Ice Traps, that kind of stuff. We also have Forge of Traps, pretty decent card. Gorgon Zormu's nice and strong. Observer of Mysteries is pretty good, especially if you're already on the board and the opponent also has some stuff. They're basically gonna try and skip their turn so they don't actually accidentally activate something. The couple of Camouflage mounts can do pretty well for you, especially if you get lucky with Wind Fury, but also getting Reborn, Divine Shields, that kind of stuff could also be very good, especially since you're getting another free with that effect as well, so that's very nice. Leroy can take the steal. Leroy can go face after you've chipped him down nicely. Mantle Shaper drops super quick. We even have Product 9 in this one, which is kind of weird. I don't believe he should be a part of the best variant of the deck, but right now this is the stats, so I'm not gonna go against that. And last we have a couple of bows for a lot of extra chip damage. Matchup wise, here's what the stats are showing. You're not gonna be doing too great against Terran Warriors, against Zerg Warlocks, and Terran Shamans even, but everything else is either 50 or very good. And for the mulligan, you're going to be trying to curve out. Obviously, you are going to be looking for your Costume Singer or your Vicious Slither Spear. I don't think you want to be keeping both of these. One of your secrets would be great. Hidden Meaning usually is the best. Sneaky Snakes is also a good one drop if you don't have either of the other two. Gorgon Zormu on curve can be huge. Mantle Shaper, it kind of takes a good hand. If you already have a 1-drop and a banana, yes, you could keep Mantle Shaper, but if that's not the case, I would not be a very huge fan of this. The rest, probably not so great of a keep. And on the coin, plenty of the same stuff, but here I would say Mantle Shaper is definitely absolutely MVP because you have an extra card as well as the coin, so this should be dropping easily on turn 3. For other good Hunter decks, we can see plenty of other good iterations of good Hunter decks. We also have Grunter Hunter, which I did show you a video about. Well, no, not Grunter, I showed you a Zerg hand buff Hunter video, so something like this. Grunter is doing great, Discover Zerg Hunter is doing great, Straight Up Zerg Hunter is doing great. So it's definitely a great time to be a Hunter player. You have plenty of different options, but I'd say hand buff Zerg Hunter and Secret Hunter would be the best two out of the lot. On the number 2 spot, we still have Terran Shaman doing really strong with above 60% win rate for the last 3 days. And this, again, don't get surprised, it has none of the new cards. Even since you have Turbulus, you could technically include the new 2-drop that discovers you a free drop with a Dark Gift. No, they're just not good enough. You don't have time to be doing things that are not advancing your main game plan, so no, we're not running any of those. You're still going straight up for your good Starship action. You still have big backstage bouncers, Turbulus makes everything big, and you can still kill a lot of people on turn 5 or 6 with Bloodlust out of nowhere. Your Starship action is also doing really strong, the Siege Tanks go fast after you've launched the Starship, Jim Raynor does a lot of damage after you launch all of those Starships again, and all around the deck is just way too powerful, and you can definitely check out a detailed guide about it if you really want to know what you want to be doing with it. Here's the updated matchups for it. We can see you have plenty of green stuff. The only really not so great matchups would be Terra and Warrior, and it's not even a bad matchup, it's just a negative. And same can be said for the location Zerg Warlock. Not that bad, but definitely not a great one for you. Mulligan-wise, you're trying to curve out with your good 1-2 freeze. The location is absolutely amazing. SCV or Murloc Growfin. Turbulus on free is GG. Liftoff can be pretty nice. Try to be curving into it though. Gorgon's almost pretty decent as well. Again, try to curve into it. Missile Pod is decent. Trusty Companion, if you have a 1-drop, can be great. And Tempo out Ziliax on turn 4 can also be amazing, but again, you need a curve for it. And the Ziliax here is a Killiax. It's a power module plus Haywire module, so Ziliax can single-handedly win you games against some opponents. On the coin, again, plenty of the same stuff, so mulligan accordingly. For other good Shaman decks, we're gonna see plenty of different Terran Shaman decks. Some with Ziliax, some with Shutter Block, and we can also see, if we scroll down a little, the slower variant of Terran Shaman is also doing decently well, with some Dirty Rat action, with some Ceaseless Expanse, that kind of stuff. I've heard about other types of Shaman out there, but obviously they're not doing as amazing as the other variants. Battlecry Shaman is still decently well, small sample size. Asteroid Shaman is still playable, but it's not the monster of a deck people make it out to be. And there's also some slower variants of Shamans out there at the bottom, but nothing is as good as the Shamans I showed you. On the number 3 spot, this new Protoss Priest, which I have a video about, is also still doing super well. This particular variant has more on the 1-drop segment. Some people were worried about the deck had way too few 1-drops. Like I said, the main reason why it had so few 1-drops is because you can actually discount your Sentries to be 1-drops, you can discount your Void Rays to be 1-drops. But this variant indeed is doing a bit better. I think it's a skill issue, honestly. I think people can do better if they know how to play this deck better without the extra 1-drop, but this one is definitely doing super well from Diamond to Legend, so why would we go against the grain? Again, my guide about this deck is going to really teach you what you can really be pulling off with this one. You can literally straight up OTK people with the help of your Halos, slapped on your 3-4 Zealots out of the Chrono Boost, and then a couple of Hallucinations that can be literally 21 damage from hands. And you can also get a lot of extra damage through the help of things like Mothership and such. So yeah, the deck is very, very powerful, but also some things in it could not be very intuitive when you first start playing with it, so I definitely advise you to watch the detailed guide. Here's the updated matchups for it. Protoss Rogue is not going to be your friend, and Zerg Warlock is a bit on the negative, but everything else from the popular ones is super good, so climbing should definitely not be an issue. And here's the updated mulligans for it. You always will want to be looking for your Sentries, for your Gold Banner, a good 1-drop would be great. The Trusty Fishing Rod is pretty decent. Photon Cannon, I'm not a huge fan of. Look, people are keeping it left and right, but it's actually not a great according to the win rate. So I would really not be looking for the Photon Cannon as much. I would straight up try to just curve out with the good minions instead. Orbital Halo could be absolutely massive, just try not to be using it on your overzealous healer before you've triggered the spell burst, because if you do that, yes, you're gonna trigger the spell burst, but you're also gonna silence the Orbital Halo. Chrono Boost can definitely be great if you're curving into it, the rest probably not so hot. And on the coin, again, plenty of the same stuff, so it's not really gonna be much different depending on first or second. Apparently bird watching is not such a hot keep, so be careful over keeping it. For other good priests, people are still enjoying things like Zarimi Priest, but it's not as strong as you're gonna see. It's at 56, whereas the variants I'm showing are 60 plus, so there's that. This variant is actually having even higher win rate, but a bit more smaller sample size. This is the Pain variant of Priest right now. It does have a pretty good amount of damage in it. I have done a video about a very similar list as well. You still have the Chrono boost, so you can actually get yourself copies of the Zealots with the help of the hallucination, but you're a lot more aggressive with early game minions, and you have plenty more reach with the help of Pet Parrot, repeating things like acupuncture, or even things like hallucination, so it's a very solid deck as well. Zaremia's up there. And even some slower variants of Priest are doing okay-ish, but okay-ish is actually under 50, so stay away from those. On the number 4 spot, we actually have Hero Power Druid doing pretty strong again, even though this variant does have a little bit of smaller sample size, and personally I would say Weapon Rogue is a bit more deserving to be on this top 5, but I'm not gonna go according to my feelings against the stats, so there's that. This is not a very different type of Hero Power Druid. The only interesting thing I'm noticing here is you have a single swipe in order to get yourself a Leroy, which is kind of weird, but I guess it is an extra layer for you to have a charge minion from hand. So you can actually use this plus a Hero Power from your Adonis and actually double dip on that good damage. You're still trying to get your Groovy Cats nice and quick, and you have Peaceful Pipers for that. You have control-y tools like Astral Phaser, so you can make minions dormant, including taunt minions, so you can actually waltz face easily. And you can be repeating that hero power with the help of Sing-Along Buddy, with the help of Popular Pixie. You definitely have a lot of damage, and you also run straight up a couple of MC techs. So if you're facing this deck, be careful to go above 3 minions, especially if one is really strong. Bob is also pretty amazing, so you can actually steal things like Unkilly Axes and such. But yeah, all around, again, watch the guide for it if you really want to know exactly what you're doing with this one. Matchup-wise, this is a bit more of a polarizing deck. You're not going to be great against Zerg Hunters, against Terran Shamans, and Elemental Mages, but you are going to be great against most of the other matchups, except for Terran Warrior, which is close to 50, honestly. I'm actually in front of it, but yeah, 47% win rate, not that bad. Mulligan-wise, obviously, first or second, you're always going to be begging for that Cat or for the Piper, so definitely try and get those as fast as you can. Cactus Construct is a great one-drop as well, but I would not hold on to it if I already have a Piper for 1, because that guarantees your turn 2, so why are we keeping a 1-drop anyway? Curving into a Chrono boost can be massive. Arcanite Revelation is also a decent 1-drop, but don't keep it if you have the Piper. Frostload is going to be amazing in the mulligan, so you get to flourish with it faster. The rest probably not so great. And on the coin, it's going to be plenty more of the same stuff, so this should help you know what you're looking for. For other good Druid decks, we can also see things like Dungar Druid still doing pretty well. This is the Hero Power Druid I showed you, not that much sample size. This one is also at a close second, so both of these combined are having a pretty decent sample size. Things like Taunt Druid are also still visible on ladder here and there, but they're not the monster of a deck we have known them to be. And on the last spot, again, we do have Zerg Death Knight doing decently well. I mean, by decently, I mean it's in the top 5, so it's doing amazingly well. But again, it does beg the question, wouldn't Weapon Rogue be a little bit better on this list? And I do believe it would, but this is also a pretty good deck, so I'm not gonna say no to this one either. This is the Double Frost 1 Unholy version, and we actually have an interesting inclusion of an extra Frost Strike in here, and I'm assuming this would be so you actually have a shot at against Weapon Rogues, because if this thing gives you a Quart-sized Crusher, you basically insta-win the game right there, because being able to freeze the opponent's face for 3 turns, that's just GG for the Rogue. Other than that, anything else interesting in here? You do have a double Yelling Yoddler, you still have a double Viper in here, but the rest is pretty standard stuff for the deck, so you should be knowing what you should be expecting out of this by now. Again, I do have several videos about this, guides about it, so that should be helping you, getting you on your way. Matchup-wise, here's the updated stats. Weapon Rogue, pretty horrible, but with the Frost Strike you might get lucky. Zerg Hunter is on the negative, Hero Power slightly negative, everything else super strong for you. For the mulligan, be careful if not to be keeping bad cards. You definitely want your location and your Infestor. Turn 1 Miracle Salesman is okay if you don't have the location. Brittle Bone's amazing, Harbinger is decent, curving into the Nidus Worms is also great, curving into the Hive Queen can also be good. The rest probably not so hot, even though if you do have an Infestor, I would not be against holding onto the Death Growl as well if you have the location too. And on the coin, again, it's pretty much the same stuff, so this should be helping you making better decisions. For other good Death Knight decks, I've also tried the Blood variant of this Zerg Death Knight, and that's also doing quite well. This is a variant that runs the Airlock Breach. We also have a variant that runs the 1 mana card that gives you Lifesteal Taunt Reborn, which could be pretty nice. I saw people were actually doing well with it in Top Legend, and I did give it a try. Maybe I'm gonna give you a guide about it tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. I'm not really seeing it right now on these stats. Yeah, here's one. It's not doing as hot according to these stats, but in Top Legend, it has been doing a bit better because there's plenty of weapon rogues out there. Other than that, it's just mainly either Rainbow or Frost Zerg Death Knight, so that should be your picks. For the classes we haven't mentioned, starting off with Demon Hunter, we don't really have a great working Demon Hunter right now, so probably best to stay away from the class. With Mage, Elemental Mage actually could have made it into this top 5. It's at a close 6, with the Death Knight being pretty close together. A very big sample size, and this is basically almost free for you to play, so it's not a bad option for sure. Protoss Mage is also playable. I do have a guide about a similar variant of this deck, so you might want to give that one a check. Paladin is sitting on the bench right now. Hand buff finally is above 50%, so at least it got that going for it. Terran Pally is also somewhat okay, but it's really not that strong. For Rogue, Weapon Rogue's doing amazingly well. Protoss Rogue is doing amazingly well, but we are seeing pretty small sample size here. Technically, this Weapon Rogue could have made it into the top 5, we gotta be completely honest. I do have a detailed video about it, so definitely give that one a check. And I also have a guide about the Protoss Rogue, which is also doing really strong. It's not this exact iteration, but close enough for you to get the gist of it. Warlock also was pretty close to being included into this top 5, but as you see, the first critical mass sample size variant has only 56.7% win rate, so we're gonna be lying if we say this is higher than the 5 decks I already showed you, so there's that. Yeah, location Zerg Warlock is quite strong, and the rest is just iterations of those. Here's a working Wheel Warlock with a pretty small sample size, however, so if you want to be wheeling it up, this is something you might want to go for. The rest, not so hot. And lastly, we have Warrior. A lot of people are saying Warrior is absolutely top tier, and honestly, in skilled hands, it could be, but overall, the deck has a respectable 56% win rate with a good sample size at least, so it's not top tier, but it's definitely nothing to sneeze at. We have several different iterations of Terran Warriors, but they're all close to 55-ish% win rate, so you can't really go wrong with Warrior either. And just for science, let's see how the new cards are performing. Starting off with a Sarah, we're gonna see that we don't have anything too amazing, just a Terran Warrior with a Sarah that's working well despite a Sarah, not because of it. We can also see what the creature is doing. Nothing really to write home about again, 55-ish% win rate, and that's on a Terran Shaman, so that says a lot. The best variant of Terran Shaman has 62% win rate, this thing is 55, so you tell me, does creature make the deck better? I thought so. And last we have Raptor, and no, we do not have Raptor. There's nothing with Raptor. So yeah, do let me know in the comments if you actually managed to find something fun with the new cards. Maybe it's just still under the radar, but as I told you in my first video after the new cards came out, I really don't believe these cards are making any deck better right now. So that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. Hope this helps you figure out what deck you want to be taking to Easy Legend this season. Don't forget to download Arcane Rush from my download link in the description or the pinned comment. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.